Hi there, and welcome to Stamping in the Barnyard. My name is Bethany Barnard, and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I've been bringing 12 weeks of whimsical Christmas projects each week, and we are on week 10, and I'm very excited to share this project and technique with you. And you will see that I have used the Sweet Cherries stamp set, and I've got Sweet Friend on this really nice bar of soap. And I'm going to take you through the technique on how to do that, but it did occur to me that whereas you can do Sweet Friend with the sweetest cherries, if you have the Best Family Ever stamp set, you can do anything: Sweet Grandma, Sweet Mom, Sweet Sister, Aunt, whomever. And so that's a great one to use with this. And so I like it for that reason. But you're not limited to that set either. You can use I use the Courage and Faith stamp set, and I've stamped this bar of soap. And then I've also used the Petal Park, and I've stamped this bar of soap. Now, what I want you to understand is that in all these cases, I've not done any coloring in, two-step stamping. I've used outline stamps or words, and that's what works best. And I really like this Sweet Friend stamp set because it's a little bit thicker, and I think that helps because we're embossing, and with this technique, I think that really helps. But fortunately, these are pretty thick too, so I think that's going to work out well, and I'm going to give it a go and try it. So that's what you need to know about how to choose your stamp sets, but there's a whole bunch of outline stamp sets. You don't want a big area that should be filled in and try to leave it blank. You really just want a detailed outline stamp set or words. They work really nicely, or anything that has sort of a flowery kind of design, but that you don't have to fill it in. So let's get started on this. I did want to tell you what type of stamp sets to use for this project, but now I want to share real quickly with the bar of soap that I'm using and why I like it. This is Bolero. This one happens to be vanilla, sugar, and raspberry, but the fragrant doesn't matter. But the Bolero soaps, the two things I really like about it, three things really, is it's a nice, good bar of soap to have in your hands. It's not too small. It's got a nice area surface for you to do some stamping and have it transferred to the soap. But most of all, it doesn't have any kind of its manufacturing or its trademark on the soap. In the past, when I've used other soaps, I've had to scrape that off in order to use this technique. And this one's just smooth and easy and ready to go. So I really like this. I know it's available on Amazon, but I did want to tell you it's also a really nice soap. And a lot of us have switched over, I know, to shower gel. But I have come to decide that sometimes I just really like a bar of soap to clean myself in the shower. The other thing you can do, and I'll be showing you this when I make up the box, but you could also put a gift card in the lid of the box. So they're not only getting the soap, but they're also getting a gift card. And I'll show you that when we make up the box. Now, if you want to stick around, the main part of this project is to show you how to transfer stamp images to a bar of soap, but I will also take you through how to make a box particularly for the Bolero soap. So the measurements are for it if you want to stick around for that. Otherwise, whatever soap you're using, it's pretty easy to figure out how to make up a box. So let's get started. And the first thing that you're going to need is some tissue paper. Now, you don't want that tissue paper that's thicker and has that sheen on the other side. You really want one that's gonna kind of melt away, if you like. So you want to take an embossing buddy, I guess would be proper, because you will get fingerprints on this just as much as you do on cardstock. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use, again, the Sweet Friend, and I've already put it on the stamp with both words. And then I'm going to ink it up with my Versamark. I can see a lot of my friends getting this year. And I even have a friend whose last name is Sweet, but she lives far away, so I don't know if I'll get it to her or not, but maybe. Pull that up. And of course you don't see it very well, and I backed cardboard on here because I knew you wouldn't see it on the grid paper. Now I find that the copper of the metallics shows up best, say the copper compared with silver and gold. I think silver and gold fade away into the soap a little bit more than the copper. So I like to use the copper, but if you have black, that would work really well too. In fact, I thought I had black and I went looking for it, and I'm sure I had it, but I don't know what happened to it. So you can see that Sweet Friend is on there, but we still have to emboss it. So personally, with flimsy paper like this, I like to use a clipboard, right? And so I am gonna now heat emboss this. And it's gonna take a minute. And you wanna make sure that you get all of it. There it goes. You can see it starting to go now. If you're not careful, little tiny bits of it don't get embossed. I don't know if you can see how, if you look at that W, there's still some that's not quite embossed yet. So you want to go back over it because you want to make sure that you have really gotten all of those nooks and crannies. There we go. So now we have, oh, there's still a little bit on the R. And I think it's because the tissue paper is not as smooth as the cardstock would be. Okay, that looks like it worked. So the next thing you need to do is very carefully, not very carefully, but I suppose everything we do when we're working on a project is sort of carefully, right? And I'm very carefully gonna move my embossing powder so I don't spill it all over on the floor. Okay, so now you want to come up and as best you can trim. You can leave a little bit of an edge, but you want to trim around the whole stamped image or words that you're hoping to put on there. Sometimes it's easy to like just cut out roughly the image you're transferring, and then go in a little bit more with some of the details. I'm going to throw that away, and then I'm going to come in here around the T, and it's probably good to have some sharp scissors for this, and I think I'm using a bit older scissors, but obviously this would go better. Tissue paper just doesn't give you the same sturdiness, I guess, of cardstock when you're cutting, so it's harder to be as exact. But you can see I'm coming closer to these letters. With the W, I am going to come in a little bit like this and cut that out. Come across here and up. And then around my S. If I knew how to edit my video to speed this process up for you, I would. And I really need to find out how to do that. Okay, then we come around here. It's okay, all of the space that's in between these two words, that doesn't matter so much. In fact, it helps a little bit. And then I'm just going to come across the bottom of this and take out a little bit of extra. And there we have it. There's my Sweet Friend that I'm going to transfer onto this bar of soap. Okay, so I like to take one of our water painters here, and I want to make sure that the water's dripping from it. Well, you can see I've been doing soap. I saw some bubbles coming up. Okay. And not all of the area that you would normally have that will cover all of it, but the bulk of the middle of your image that you've cut out, it's kind of like making a paste here so that this will stick to it to get started. So you'll see, we'll put that on that way. And now you're really gonna, see now you can move it a little bit. There you go, because I wish I'd centered that just a little bit better than my first attempt there. Okay. And then you want to kind of straighten it out. And then once it's on there that well, and you kind of press it into what you've laid down there, so you can see I can pull this away a little bit, get the spacing right. Okay, and now you're going to take the rest of your painter and you just paint over it, and that helps that tissue paper to seep into the soap itself. And I love this technique. I've actually used it for about 15 years, but I forget sometimes. I'm really glad to take that out because I haven't seen it for a while on any other videos or shows. And I just, as I said, I really like this Sweet Friend stamp set, or the Sweet Cherries used for this. And I'm looking forward to using the family one too, to see if I can do some other relationships. I can see me giving these out and then putting gift cards in the top half of the box. That would be fun. Okay, so you can see I've just painted this all on. After you're done painting it on, you want to make sure everything's down well. And you don't want to be rough with this because it will pull it up. It's just tissue paper after all, right? There we go. Might be worth ironing your tissue paper before you do this. I did not do that, but I can see that that might work. Now here, looks like this big drip from the water. I tend to try to minimize that a little bit by painting away from it. You can see that kind of helps to make that disappear a little bit. But basically, now we're going to look at this and study this with keener eyes than any recipient of it, I'm sure. And once I've finished that much of it, I do like to, just with my hands, come in and kind of press it down. And see that it goes in here. Now I have used my own stamped bars of soap in the past, and I have literally had the stamping stay on for a good long time of using the soap. But it might come off right away, but you know, I think that happens even with manufactured soaps that maybe do that. You know, how long do you expect it to stay on a bar of soap? But there you have it. Really, it's a pretty quick and easy project, and if you wanted to make a lot of these, you could just keep going with it and get a lot of bars of soap done, I think. But I am just so happy with how that has come out. So now I'm going to take you through how we make the box for the Bolero soap. So I have here, it's almost a full sheet of vanilla cardstock, and this is the thick white since we're making a box. I have taken off 1/8 of an inch, so this is 10 7/8, and I will have all of these measurements in the description. And I've taken off a 1/2 inch here, so it's 10 7/8 by 8 inches. And then I scored, here we go, I scored it 1 3/4. Here we go, 1 3/4, and then again at 4 1/2, and then again at 6 1/4. And this is kind of a new thing I've just tried this morning. I've added one more, 1/8 of an inch bigger, so 6 3/8. So you actually have 2 little score marks here. And then again at 9 1/8. And then I've turned it this way and I've scored it 1 3/4, and again at 6. Is that right? Let me check this here. Yeah, okay, so it's at 6 1/4. There we go. Let me see, try that again. Whoops, it's going off here. Let's do that, there. Okay, so that's your scoring, and as I said, those measurements are in the description, and I also have all the measurements of the DSP pieces, and I'll read them out as we use them as well. Now, I like to use my bone folder, which I'm betting I've left a couple feet away from me. Yep. Okay, so sorry about that. Here we go. And also my sheet of measurements so I can share them with you. All right, and my scissors. Because what you want to do is where you have these two lines together, that means this is going to be the top of your box, the side with the two lines. So what I'm going to do is with my designer series paper that I have already cut up, I am going to at least put this piece onto that front to remind me that it's the front, and because I'm going to cut out this little notch here. So this strip, and you're going to cut 3 of these, is 1 5/8 by 4 3/8. And as I said, all these measurements will be in the description underneath the video. Okay, so put some glue on here. And the reason, this is the only, my recommendation is this is the only piece that you put on to begin with. And you do want it, this will be right side up. Now it doesn't matter so much with this particular design. I don't even know which way I want it to go. I think I'm going to make it go this way though. I don't have a good reason. But because some of these, like there's some of these that have like a tree in them here, a really small tree, and some of the other prints, there's gonna be a definite which way's up and which way's down, but on this particular one, it's not so apparent. And then once you've cut that, you want to go ahead and do your half circle. I like to measure where my half circle is. So if I have this at 14 to 25, if I have it at 24.5 and 14.5, that means around 5 more, which would be 9. Okay, so in here would be, I'm just gonna mark that a little bit with my scissors here, that's the halfway point, but you can measure that out. That's all you're really going for, is where's the halfway. And then I'm just gonna punch a half circle out of that. Now the reason why I put that piece of DSP on right away is so that you can punch that out while that's already on. I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna put all my other pieces on after I've made the box. Partly because you want to make sure everything's going in the right direction that you want and that you're putting the pieces in the right places that you want, but this will always dictate to you that this is the top of the box. So now we're ready to cut up our flaps. So if this is the top, then this would be the bottom. And so the tabs on either side of the bottom of your box are going to adhere to the inside of the bottom. I don't know if that's making any sense, but what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start by coming straight up here. And I do like to, on the inside, miter it a bit. It just makes it fold better, but I like to keep the other part a straight edge because that's how I know I'm lining it up right for the box. Okay, so here I'm actually going to cut up on that second line and on this line, just to the intersecting horizontal line. So we're cutting out basically 1/8 of an inch here. And this is, as I said, this is something new that I tried this morning. I hope it works now. I tried it once and it worked, and I thought, oh, I like that. I'm going to stick to it. So, and I'll explain if it works, why I did it this way. But we'll wait and see if it's working, and then I'll tell you. Okay, so then snip that off. Okay, so again, this is all the bottom of our box. This is the top of our box. And you always want the sides to be completely straight up, but you can miter the tabs. Generally, that's the rule when you're making boxes, that you only miter the tabs. There we go. Okay, so now you can see, hopefully, this is the top of our box. Ooh, I left these out. Let me get these done. Thought I was letting go of those scissors too soon. And again, miter that. And then up here, and miter that. And I just aim my scissors for the intersection of those lines when I do that. Okay, so that's all the cutting that we needed to do. And then we're going to fold on all of these horizontal lines. The first one, where we have these double lines, and then again on the second one, but you'll hopefully see why. It's actually because the box pulls a little bit if you make the measurements exactly the same on the top and the bottom. So I'm trying to get this to where it's on both bits. I don't know if that makes sense, but okay. And then the rest. And then your side tabs. And then I'm going to glue it together, and then I will put the rest of the DSP on, because you want to make sure your box is facing the right directions. You want to make sure that your bottom, that you put the piece that you have for the top on the top and not on the bottom. And hopefully this will make sense as I put the DSP on. Okay, and I can see here that this is sticking out just a little bit, so I'm going to trim that with my scissors a little bit here. There we go. And it looks better on this side, but doesn't hurt to run the scissors down because you got a line to do that with. Okay. All right, so this is the bottom of our box. So I am going to take my glue and put glue on my tab here. And then you know you've got it right when the top is flush with the side here. So because you can't see any sticking out up there, and this is a straight line up, you know you've got it. Okay, now we'll do the same with this one. I like to do one side at a time. Okay. But do both ends of one side, if that makes sense. And you can see I just want to make sure that this is flush here. There we go. And then on this side, there we go. And flush, there we go. And now this last piece, and this is all, as I said, the bottom of the box. So you're going to have all four sides coming up on the bottom of the box, because on the top of the box, you're not going to have it that way. It's kind of like a pizza box type. Okay. All right. So that's the bottom of our box. Now I'm going to get ready to put these folds in here too. But I want you to see that the reason I did that extra little 1/8 of an inch here, and it's okay because the DSP is going to come up to that. So you're not going to really see those two lines. The DSP is going to cover it. But it keeps, let me see if one of my other boxes that I was working on, I think this one for one of my boxes, it's not too bad, but it can pull more. I don't know if you can see here against the vanilla how this makes this little pull here. And I think by giving that little extra bit, it makes the lid just that little bit further along to come down over the box. I hope that makes sense. You don't have to do that. You don't have to put in that other 1/8 of an inch, but if you don't put that 1/8 of an inch in, you got to make sure that you do it at 6 1/4 and 9 inches, not 9 1/8 inches. But that just makes it like an 1/8 of an inch bigger than what it would otherwise be. Now this is sticking so nice and fast, which is good, but I want to make sure that this is flush, and it's not really. So it is possible that this is just that little bit, because it's the last end of your paper and we cut 1/8 of an inch off. If we went even just a little bit over in our measurement, it's going to show up here. And I have a adhesive eraser, but my thumb worked, and we're going to be covering it with DSP anyway. But since this has that little tiny bit of edge, I'm just taking it and I'm just cutting it right to the front of the box. I'm not going to go around the front of the box. And then let's see if that happens on this side too. Yes, so it makes sense. I probably cut this just a little bit longer than the 9 7/8 that it's supposed to be. And I use a guillotine cutter for most of my cutting, so it's understandable that I would have done that. But I think it can happen on really any kind of cutter. So the best way out of that is to, instead of doing is to turn the whole paper and just do it at the same measurement from the beginning of a scoreboard. But anyway, I don't know, that can be confusing if I tell you all that. So hopefully you guys have made boxes before. As I said, this project was mostly about stamping on the soap anyway, but I thought I would go ahead and give you the measurements and how I've done this box. So once again, on this side, we've got that same little trimming to do. It's only a hair. It probably wouldn't even be noticed by somebody if you never trimmed it, but that's me. I wanted to get that trimmed up. Okay. So now we have our box, and we're going to just cover it with our DSP. So I have another strip here that I can put here. And as I said, all those measurements are underneath, but I'm pretty sure this is 4 3/8 by 1 5/8. And you need 3 of these because you need it on this back piece. Actually, I think we're only going to use 2 of these. I got to check that out and see, because I don't think I'm going to put it on the bottom of the box. I think I'm only going to put it on, which I did do with the other boxes, but I kind of like the way this vanilla shows through, so you know that's where to open the box. So I'm going to keep the bottom of the box vanilla, and I'm only going to put trim on the top of the box. So now this one is 2 5/8 by 1 5/8, and you do need 2 of these. So I guess it's 2 of everything except the top piece. And now this has trees on it, so I do want to make them be upright. I don't know if you can see that these trees are on this piece. And then on this side, let's see, I should have another, here it is. Okay, and you could do any, I mean, I'll show you, well, we have so many pretty papers. If you have any more with the metallic copper in it, that would be great DSP, because you've used the, copper metallic on the actual soap too. So I think that would look nice. But I really liked this paper for boxes and for friend. I thought it was a little bit more whimsical. And after all, this is Whimsical Christmas project. So you see we're going to put that there. And then I've chosen sort of, this is on vanilla paper, and I was trying to decide what ribbon to use. And I could use that same ribbon that I've used on this red version of this paper, which is the vanilla with the gold running through. But we're gonna see how the white looks, even though this is vanilla paper. because it's kind of sheer white, and I'm thinking it will pick up this color. We can change it. It's just ribbon. This is why you like to buy lots of assortments of ribbon though, right? Okay, so there's our box. Now I like to put a little bit of that shredded, crimped sort of stuffing. I save this whenever I get a packaging that has this in it, just for little projects like this. So you can see we put that in there, and Sweet Friend here. And as promised, I wanted to show you that I just took a scrap of leftover DSP. This is a gift card that I stole from my son, so I knew how to measure a gift card. Gift cards all tend to be about the same. And so if you fold it on one side around the gift card, and then you move it slightly, because you want a little bit of space to be able to put it in, and then fold it again. That's an easy way to get the measurement. And then you just need about a 3/8 to 1/2 inch at the bottom to fold up. And then what you can do is just glue, start by gluing. I'm going to just do a line down the side of the bottom flap. And you want to close both of these flaps and bend that up, because the idea is that the card will slip in like this, and you would glue all of this on the inside cover. I hope that makes sense. And I just love the idea of adding a little gift card to the inside of this. Probably want to go closer to the edge, not close, but closer to the edge of this, because you don't want this peeling up from the inside cover. And I'm going to take my bar of soap out of here while I do this, because I'm going to want this to lay flat while I put this in. So while this is flat, I'm going to try and center it. You don't want to go so high up that your card doesn't fit. And of course, I didn't measure anything. You could if you want to, but that's kind of how I roll. And then, yeah, see, that was dumb, because now I can't fit that in. So let's try this. Now, this glue, this mono adhesive, if you leave it, it becomes sort of tacky. And I'm thinking that that could be good for the gift card, because it'll make it so you can still get it pulled up. Look at that. I can't get it in, and here I am on this video, and I can't get it in. There's got to be a better way. Should I do it upside down? Let's try that. This was just an idea I had after I'd planned my video, so that's why you're getting to see all my issues with it. But you know, I wonder. It's a new way to hold one, right? And then you just put it in like this. It still needs to go up a little bit higher. Okay, maybe it is worth measuring first. Aren't you glad I measured everything else first? Just not this part. So it's going to want to go right up to the top like this. And as I said, you've got all this sticky here. You could, with an eraser, get that up. You may even want to put this in before you put your box together. But if we put this in like this now, it all fits perfectly, actually, right? And they can still get it out. I wonder if I have that all the way in. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so I probably will clean this up a little bit, but you can see then you'd have the gift card hanging out there. I will use my adhesive eraser on that. But as I said, it was an afterthought to put in a gift card. So I did kind of mess that up when I was doing it, but there's no reason why you can't make it go in this way instead of our usual way that we think of gift cards going. So Sweet Friend, and then this would pop out, or not too easily pop out. Guess I'm gonna work on that to get rid of all that Not all of it, because as I said, I do think a little bit of it's going to make sense to hold that gift card in there. Of course, I did steal this one from my son, and I will have to give it back to him. But okay, so there we go. I hope that didn't throw you the way that ended up, but actually I'm still excited about putting the gift card in there, and I still think doing it upside down will work. And then here's where, see, I think this is going to be okay, and I love that it's sparkly. And I didn't create tags for this because as I have said from the beginning, really the technique was stamping on the bar of soap, and I only gave measurements for the box for this soap for those who thought they would be helped by it. There we go. I just love this ribbon that's so sparkly. I've probably said that before. I'm kind of a bling person. And I probably will create a tag for it. I don't know. I may decide to switch that out for some vanilla ribbon. Let me give that, I don't know. It's not too bad, but I'm going to go with that vanilla. Let's see what we think of that. Right? You're seeing me in my real, how do I want to do this mentality. But yeah, I think I'm going to like this better, which I do really love this golden vanilla ribbon. Yeah, that looks so much nicer, doesn't it? I wish it was fatter, but it's not. And with a nice tag that I'll make up for it, it really is going to end up being a pretty cute project, don't you think? So here we have it. I hope you've enjoyed it. Go ahead and make a fancy tag to go with your box. Use any kind of DSP that you want to make this box. You don't have to use thick vanilla cardstock. You can also use normal cardstock. I've made a box. Is it nearby? No, I made a box with a Night of Navy base. So it can be colored cardstock too. You just want to, if you're going to use vanilla or white, you're going to want to make sure that it's the thick. That's all I guess I'm trying to say there. And here we go, last picture. And so here are the two boxes, and let me take out a bar of soap, and you can see, sweet friend. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.